Live from the Business Radio X studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting as usual from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta, and it is beautiful today. Folks, if you are tired of the mega bank experience, and if you're at one of those banks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've got banks that some of those big ones, they don't act like they really want to talk to you live. They want to talk to you through a computer-generated voice. That's not the way they do things at Renaissance, and I know this personally from the work that I do with them on behalf of my clients. Renaissance believes in delivering their services in a personal way, but here's the thing. They're big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them. So if you want to know more, go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices, and give them a call. And guess what? Somebody will answer the phone. Imagine that. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Chad White and Brad Carter. Chad and Brad are with Cellular Health MD. Gentlemen, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Great to have both of you. So let's talk about the two of you, what you're up to at Cellular Health MD, how you're serving folks out there.
Absolutely. Well, we are at Cellular Health MD. We are a medically supervised wellness center that specializes in some different things. Medical weight loss would be one. IV therapy would be another. Peptide therapy, high-level nutrition, life coaching. We teach people how to reprogram their brain, and it's directly connected to the gut. And the process we go through teaches them exactly how to do that. And when you clear up the gut, the brain clears up, and you can really start making some major changes in your life. And Brad will probably go down that road a little bit deeper, biochemistry-wise.
Okay. Brad?
Yeah. My job at Cellular Health is a clinical nutritionist, and what I do is I take blood from people, order labs, and establish vitamin and mineral deficiencies, and we can test many other things. We can test your spit, pee, poop, your genes, and we can dig really deep. And then we have a lot of diagnostic equipment that we use to measure people's body composition and shifts in their water, and this machine tells us a lot about people's hormonal environment. And so when we look at their blood work and we put them on this machine on a weekly basis and we supplement what they're deficient in and all their micronutrients and we correct their nutrition through precision nutrition based on their genetics, then we see that they most every time gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, week after week for the first 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
And then they just continue to lose body fat and feel better and look their best.
And energy. That's the number one thing people come to us for. If you ask me what's the number one thing, it's energy. Everybody's looking for more energy.
They have lack of energy.
Yeah, hard to get out of bed. They crash in the afternoon, just no drive to go back to work.
And maybe they think that's because of aging or some other...
They blame it on
aging and hormones. Okay. I want to get back to that. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the two of you and just each of you individually, why you're so passionate about this topic. You've been in this business for a while, but why did you get passionate about this?
Yeah, I think both of us, I'm not going to speak for him, but both of us have been in this industry lifestyle pretty much our whole entire lives since both of us were probably about 18 years old, as far as in the fitness, in the gyms and conscious of what we were eating. And actually it just started by wanting to look good. If I'm honest, now it's transitioned into a whole different thing.
Most 18-year-olds are like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay.
A little ego in the beginning, of course, but now it's done transition into full wellness, right? Now it's done transition into I'm a single dad. I have an 8-year-old daughter. She'll be 9. Her name is Lola. She's my whole world. Yeah, I hate Lola. She'll hear that. And so that's my passion now is looking at her every day. And I've realized once I started focusing on helping other people, that's my passion. Once I started forgetting about me and focusing on other people, my whole life has exploded. And so that's why I'm so passionate now, because I feel like I've figured out the secret of life. And it's just help other people, focus on other people, do the right thing in the dark, and you generate really good luck. And we all know it's not luck.
Wow. We could talk a lot about that. Right? I love that. So we could talk a lot about that just there. But Brad, what about you? What's your journey?
I was a very sickly child. I had a lot of allergies and asthma and rashes and funguses and stomach ulcers and gallbladder problems. And I was just always sick. But of course, I grew up in the 80s. My parents fed me bologna sandwiches on white bread with a ding dong and a Dr. Pepper and a bag of chips every single day. So there's absolutely no nutrition in there. And I see vitamin deficiency. I'm a malnutrition expert. I've been obsessed with vitamins and minerals since I was in high school. And I learned when I was after high school that fitness helped with a lot of my symptoms from allergies and things like that. And then nutrition comes with that. And so I ended up going to school for health sciences, and I'm a huge biochemistry nerd. I've been a certified nutritionist for over 20 years. I've got probably 11 or 12 different certifications over the years in different areas of nutrition. And I started out working for a dietitian inside of a gym, and I was a personal trainer at the time in that gym, and I became a nutritionist to sell meal plans. And so we started with people. We measure their body composition on a machine. This tells us everything about their hormones. I teach them how our diet and our lifestyle affects our hormones and why their body is this shape and how can we get it to this shape. And so we figure out how much muscle and how much fat they lose. And I was pretty popular, and I did really well in sales, and I generated a lot of business, and I ended up going on to run major health clubs around all over Atlanta for 20 years. And my job basically consisted of 5 to 10 people on this machine every day, measure their body composition, break it down for them, give them a diet plan and a meal plan and a little workout plan, and sell them personal training packages and things like that. And so I've done this for over 50,000 people. And if you can imagine, if you add that at the time, just 5 a day, 10 a day over the years, you can add that number up. I've learned a lot. And I started going to a hormone replacement clinic, a testosterone clinic there in 2013 that a buddy of mine owned. And I had my job in the gym. I was able to filter my clients in, so I was able to add blood work into this. And so I did that for many years. And then I ended up leaving LA Fitness, and I started a mobile nutrition business. And I always had a business model. I took the one I started with and made that the dietitian introduced me to, and I made it better. And then, so I was driving around doing that. And so I was looking for offices. So I approached Chad, who had a hormone replacement clinic and was doing medical weight loss. And I went in there, and
he didn't approach me. That's not true. He just showed up at the clinic and worked for about 4 or 5 months until I was like, okay, I guess you work here. I guess I got to start paying you. That's the truth.
I love it.
I just started servicing his clients.
I love it.
That's the truth.
So sales picked up, referrals started flooding in. We got real popular, real fast. And so we've added another location within a year, and we've been growing pretty fast, exponentially the whole entire time.
That's awesome. Congratulations to both of you on that journey that both of you been on. So let's talk about, you mentioned a little bit of this, Brad, but let's go toward the medical weight loss piece of this. And let's just talk about how people recognize that. I mean, you talked about image. It's not just true for 18-year-olds. It's true for 50 and 60-year-olds, right? They start out by wanting to lose weight and do that in the most effective way. But there are many other problems that come because of that weight that maybe they're not aware of.
Of course.
So let's talk about what those are, because that's really what you're aiming at. You're not aiming at cosmetic change per se. You're aiming at systemic change.
Yeah, a lot of metabolic disease is what our passion is really making a difference. Go ahead with that, Brad. You want to talk about that?
Chronic disease management is what most people come to us because they have no energy at all. And so hormone therapy can help alleviate those symptoms and give them a little bit of energy back. But what it all boils down to is cell function. And so basically all the cells in your body every day are doing 2 things. They're making energy from the food you eat, and then they're making proteins from the nucleus. And so they make millions of proteins every day, every cell in your body. And so they inevitably make mistakes. And the mistakes accumulate inside of the cells and will drive the cells into what's called a senescent state, where they just shut down. It's either because the mitochondria went bad and can't make energy, or because the nucleus of the cell is emitting proteins that didn't come out the right shape or right form because they didn't have the right materials. So you need vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, and amino acids to make hormones, proteins, enzymes, tissues, neurotransmitters. So if you have a brain cell trying to make dopamine, or a testicle cell trying to make testosterone, and you don't have the right environment, it's not going to produce a molecule that is testosterone. It's going to come out in fragments. It's going to come out broken. It's going to come out misfolded. And then that cell is going to eventually become clogged up with these proteins and shut down and stop dividing. And that leads to an inflammatory response throughout the body. Everybody loses millions of cells in their body every day, billions of cells probably. And if we can reduce that number, you can reduce your systemic inflammation that you have in your body. And inflammation is key because inflammation is present, cortisol is present. And when cortisol is present, it's almost impossible to build muscle and burn fat. So when we put them on our fancy machine and we measure their body composition and somebody loses muscle and gains fat in a week's time, I can usually pinpoint it to exactly what did you eat? Did you get sick? What night did you not sleep well?
Did you take antibiotics?
Yeah. Did you take prednisone or NSAIDs or anything? Did you drink alcohol? That's probably the biggest one. And then we can figure out what caused an inflammatory response. Why was your cortisol high? And so by keeping cortisol low and doing the things that it takes to keep cortisol low, we can help people just inevitably build muscle and burn fat at the same time. They're happy. They're in a good mood all day. They feel great. They don't have any stress in their life, and everything's perfect.
Inflammation is the root of all disease. And that's why I was telling you before we even went on air. That's why that's why we're so big on fasting.
Okay.
Is because fasting activates a biochemical process called autophagy.
Yep.
That word means self-eating in Greek. And so nothing eats up inflammation faster and quicker than a fast. So we could go more into that, but that's why we like to really start our patients with some fasting to really clean out all that metabolic debris, dead organelles, protein aggregates, lipids. Inflammation is what all that stuff is. Because if a cell is full and it can't absorb, now, it doesn't matter if you're taking these wonderful vitamins and minerals, and if the cell's full, it's not going to absorb. So you're riding down 285, throwing money out the window. So we're experts on cleaning your body out and getting your system in a position to absorb, because it's not about what you can take. It's only about what you can absorb and utilize.
Let's talk about fasting since you brought that up.
I'm 86 hours fasted right this second.
We're both over 80 hours fasted right this second.
I haven't had.
You two are in pretty good moods for being 80 plus hours into a fast.
You wouldn't believe the mental clarity that fasting for 2 or 3 days can give you.
Yeah, let me tell you two things about fasting right now. 2 facts.
Please.
Fasting raises what's called BDNF, brain-derived nootropic factor. People see Joe Rogan selling a supplement called Alpha Brain all over the place. That is a nootropic supplement that raises BDNF. Nothing raises BDNF more than fasting. Fasting also raises, for a male, it raises your growth hormone levels by 2,000%. Literally, just fasting raises your growth hormone levels by 2,000%. Now, you come see us at Cellular Health MD, and you detox, you do some of this fasting, you get cleaned out, you get on a peptide regimen, you get on clean nutrition. It is literally life-changing. I tell people, everybody that I deal with, if you come, and I don't want this to sound cocky, but if you come do exactly what me and Brad lay out for you for 30 days, like you're in the military, at the end of that 30 days, if I told you to stop doing what you're doing, you would laugh in my face.
Wow.
You would laugh in my, you were like, no, I'm doing it again tomorrow, because it's changing an outcome. It's like the quantum model of reality, right? Quantum model of reality is understanding that your thoughts are changing an outcome in your life. That's a whole new game.
So when I like that. So I think when people hear the word fasting, they get scared. Yeah. And
let me define that.
It's, oh crap, I'm going to have to give up these great dinners. I get all these great Alpharetta restaurants.
Yeah, you definitely have to give that up for a little bit, but
okay.
Break it down, Brad.
Yeah.
So I've noticed a long time ago that I had many clients that were going to get bariatric surgery, stomach surgery. So they have to shrink the liver. It's hard to operate around it. And everybody's walking around with some degree of fatty liver. You might have a couple 100 calories of fatty deposits within the cells of your liver that need to be metabolized out. You might have a couple 1,000 calories. And so by fasting patients prior to bariatric or stomach surgery, they can significantly shrink their livers by up to 80%. Their livers are huge. And they don't have them completely refrain from things. There's a whole kit. We use a nutraceutical company called Ortho One Molecular. And so it's a liver detox, and it's made for fasting people. It's basically a fasting kit. And there's nothing magic in there. There's some supplements, medication for the liver that helps support liver function. And then there's a fiber drink that keeps you full. And then there's a multivitamin that's dosed out to make up for the lack of food. And so you can fast people for up to 7 days. But for most people, they're walking around with just enough fat in their liver. When you go 24, 36 hours without food, your liver has to say, okay, all right, we're not going to get any food, because everything you eat, your liver converts right into fat. And so when you're fasted, your liver has to take fat and convert it into food. And so if you're feeding yourself all day, every day, you're always telling your liver, take food, make fat. So when you go into a fasted state by refraining from food or abstaining from food for 24, 36 hours, when your liver enters metabolic ketosis, that's when it's said, all right, we're not going to get any food. Let's take this fat and let's break it down and make glucose out of it so we can regulate blood sugar with it. And
that's 20 after about 24
to 36 hours.
Okay, got it.
And so the average person probably has 500 to 1,000 calories of fatty deposits in their liver. So you need an additional 12 hours, 18 hours after that to burn all of that out. We do medically supervised fast. We do blood work. We have an analysis. We do an assessment on people, and we give them a bunch of supplements to take while they're fasting to make up for nutritional deficiencies. Okay. And so technically by definition, anything you put into your mouth, it would break a fast, but we make sure they have plenty of electrolytes. There's a little bit of sugar in that electrolyte supplement that we use, and they got some supplements to take that have a small amount of calories. It's all about the liver. 99% of the benefit from fasting is about getting your liver to clean out all of those fatty deposits. When your liver's dysfunctional and has fatty deposits, the liver's job is to filter the blood and remove toxins. All day it's filtering your blood. So when you unclog your liver by going into metabolic ketosis, then your liver starts filtering the blood and removing toxins. This takes burden off all of the cells in your body, which means you have less cells dying in your body. Now your inflammation goes down, your cortisol goes down, and your immune system goes up and starts removing all the dead cells out of your body.
And now you have true, better cellular health.
Got it.
Because of that.
Hence the name of your firm, Cellular Health MD.
Yep.
Chad White and Brad Carter are with us, folks, from Cellular Health MD. What you're saying is you're giving people a roadmap on their fasting journey, and you're giving them supplements, what have you, for that help them get over, I guess, the fear, right?
Absolutely. Not only would we give them that, every single patient that comes in our clinic has mine and Brad's cell phone number. What we're doing is we're building a community of people that just want to be better mentally, spiritually, physically. If you're out there, you're listening to this, if you want to be better mentally, spiritually, or physically, you come see us. We're going to teach you how to do that. And we're going to start by attacking your gut, doing some fasting, things that we've talked about, biohack your body per se, and teach you and have you living on the border of ketosis, where you drop in and out of ketosis and produce ketones. That's when you're high on life. Like you're saying, we seem like we have plenty of energy and we hadn't eaten 85 hours. It's called ketones. That's the reason. So we teach people basically, once we clean them out, detox them, clean them out, we get them to live right there on the border of ketosis where they just drop in and out. And that's a magical place to live.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you go back to just eating all day, every day, it's only a matter of time before your liver develops more fatty deposits and becomes dysfunctional to a point where it affects the way you feel and your cortisol levels and starts to affect your muscle mass and your fat loss. It makes it very hard to change your body composition. And we don't just fast people, we feast them too. We have them on an all-you-can-eat diet. Yep. After we fast them for a few days to clean out their liver, we put them on what's called time-restricted feeding, where they just eat in a window of period of every day. So most people go with noon to 8, which gives them 8 hours to eat all the food that I give them and as much as they want, and then 16 hours of fasting to keep their liver metabolically healthy. And the gut. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be able to build muscle and burn fat, you just have to control cortisol levels, which means controlling inflammation. And there's 2 ways we get inflammation in our body that we can control. Random dead cells popping up in your body because you overeat or undernourished, and then the foods we eat damaging the lining in our intestines and affecting our microbiome, such that we have things that normally wouldn't be leaking into our bloodstream from our gut, leaking into our bloodstream and causing our immune system to go crazy.
Gotcha. So you mentioned the term peptides. Let's talk about what peptides are and why their role, why they're so important.
Yeah, peptides are amino acids. They're natural amino acids that's naturally in your body. They're phenomenal. A lot of the patents were owned by the drug company Merck for years and years and years. They just kept re-upping the patents and setting them on the shelf. Then kind of cat got out of the bag years back. So when you go to the medical conference that I'm a member of, like in Vegas, it's just the anti-aging conference. These peptides have just taken over the medical conference, because there's literally a peptide for everything you could possibly imagine. Hair growth, putting on muscle, attacking fat, energy, mitochondria, peptides like MOTSI. And so Peptides are phenomenal especially for metabolic disease and correcting things, because they do send very specific messages. Insulin is a peptide. We're not doing insulin at our clinic, but insulin is a peptide. When you inject insulin into your belly, that insulin doesn't debate whether it does its job or not. It does its job 100% of the time, because that's what peptides do. They send messaging, signaling to the body. And so recently, I don't know if you've heard, but recently the FDA has come out and tried to ban the compounding of 6 or 8 of the most widely known peptides. And so again, there's 7,500 people are scrambling in the backgrounds to try to come up with some new ones, but they're absolutely phenomenal because they're not a Band-Aid. They're a complete healing mechanism. So they're phenomenal. You want to expand on a little peptides a little bit, Brad?
Yeah, peptides are just small chains of amino acids. Like you said, insulin is a peptide, melatonin is a peptide, human growth hormone is a peptide. There's a bunch of peptides, and hundreds of thousands of them, and they signal cells to do jobs. And so insulin signals a cell to produce a protein that opens a channel that lets sugar and fat inside of cells. And so if you look at me and Chad, we're pretty tan. We take a peptide that goes to our skin cells and tells our skin cells to make melanin, and we just get tan without having to go out in the sun.
So look at you two.
That's how precise it gets. And we have ones for the brain. We have one for every cell in your body, thousands for every cell in your body. And so there's some that we use that are immune therapies, and they're used medically around the world and like all over the United States. And Wegovy, you've heard of Ozempic and Wegovy, the weight loss. That's a peptide. We just get the peptide. That's the name brand. But the immune therapy ones are the ones that we use to really age people backwards and get dead cells out of your body.
Yep.
These things naturally, they stimulate your thymus gland to flood your body with billions of white blood cells that run around your body and just annihilate every cell that just looks funny. Yes.
Well, two things. Let's talk about nutrition first, and then I want to come back to weight loss. But on the nutrition side, what are the big myths out there about nutrition that people believe they shouldn't believe?
Because here's the deal. Every single food you eat has thousands of chemicals in it, every meat, every plant, and you can take any one of those every nutrient becomes a toxin at a certain dose. And so even arsenic is an essential nutrient that we need, but obviously it would be poisonous if you take a substantial amount. So what people do in the food industry is they'll take a nutrient or anti-nutrient property in there, and they'll try and demonize it, making a certain food look bad. And then by making that food look bad, they'll promote the sale of whatever their supplement or food they're trying to promote.
Sure.
And so in nutrition, it's all about frequency and dose. You have micronutrients. You got vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, and amino acids. And so they're present in different foods in different ratios and different amounts. And so we can group foods together by their micronutrient ratios. And so you have fruits and vegetables. You've got whole grains. You've got beans, lentils, and legumes, and split peas and soy product. They go into the whole grain, starch and fiber group. Then we have a fat group, nuts and seeds, olive oil and stuff like that, avocados, and fish and seafood and eggs are in that group, and butter is in that group. We got a bunch of. Then you have your protein group, all your different types of meat, fish, seafood, poultry, eggs, and then the land animals or the four-legged animals. And so they all have different and herbs and spices, and they all have different nutrients. They all have different anti-nutrients. So therefore, they all have a different dose and frequency at which you can consume them before you start to cause metabolic stress in cells or systems in your organ systems in your body. And so when you balance your diet, and then you have 5,300 genetic mutations that basically affect our cells' ability to absorb, convert, break down, metabolize, or utilize micronutrients. We have 16 groups of vitamins, but there's hundreds of vitamins. Vitamin A is a category of vitamins, and there's plant forms, there's animal forms, and then there's forms found in fermented products. And so you need a broad spectrum of all three of those. You can't just eat plants. You can't just eat animals. You have to eat both, and you have to have fermented foods in there. And I see vitamin deficiencies across the board all day, every day. And when it comes down to it, there's a healthy dose and frequency for every single food there is, even cake.
Wow, that's pretty overwhelming, which is why we need guys like you with your expertise. I'm interested in your views on the weight loss suppression shots.
That's what I was talking about.
That are out there.
That's the Wegovy and the Ozempic that he was referring to.
Right.
It's actually an amazing medication. Our medical director Darshan Patel, who's known as the vitamin doctor, which is perfect for us, right?
Yep.
He's been doing a lot of research on this medication, and we found a lot of things about this medication that we didn't know. It's neuroprotective, heart protective. Everybody knows it for weight loss, and everybody knows it for A1C. If you have a high A1C, that medication, that peptide is amazing to lower your A1C. So we believe in that medication. There's a lot of other peptides that are better than that peptide actually. But it all boils down to, it's an analogy to basically explain what Brad was talking about. It all boils down to, I tell everybody all the time, everybody out there understands my philosophy on wellness. They just don't know they understand it. Here's what I mean by that. If I walked in here in this office right now and I put a little plant down and I said, humanity is going to rise and fall on how you take care of this plant, and I ran out the door. If you believed me, you understand everything that I believe about wellness. What does that mean? It means you're a master gardener and you already know exactly what to do, or you're going to click right on that computer right there in front of you and you're going to say, what the heck do I put on this plant? If I gave you that plant and told you that silly story on a Monday, you wouldn't baby that plant Monday through Friday and go out there on Friday and pour a case of Coors Light on it. You wouldn't go out there on Saturday morning and pour a Coca-Cola on it because it deserves a treat and it's not going to live miserable. No, you wouldn't do that because everybody knows that poisoning something is not giving it a treat. But as soon as I change that conversation from that plant to the most important living organism on the planet, people give me all these excuses on why they don't understand that. If you come listen to Brad and detox, clean your system out, take in the right minerals, vitamins, nutrients, sit down, meditate in the morning, make your bed, you can literally change your health and your mindset 100% in 60 days.
Wow. Great words here from Chad White and Brad Carter with Cellular Health MD. So I think listeners would love it if you could tell a success story or two, maybe one. You don't have to mention names, of course, but you're in the business of privacy, but that those stories illustrate the fantastic work you do.
We got a couple. Go ahead, Brad.
So I like the medical cases. In kidney disease is extremely hard to reverse. It almost never happens. And so with these peptides and proper nutrition, fasting regimens, and checking some specific biomarkers involved in vascular disease and angiogenesis, and how we have peptides that stimulate the production of new blood vessels. And we have peptides that remove dead cells from the body. And so we combined those and a couple other ones that that help all the cells in your body with fasting and perfect nutrition. And when people do this, every single health marker. I had a lady, she was in stage 3 kidney failure. Her GFR went to 75 from 33. That's unheard of. You never ever see that.
What is that?
Your glomerular filtration rate, how efficient your kidneys are working comparatively. Oh, and she was 2, but this lady was in a wheelchair couldn't walk, aches and pains, and now she doesn't even have a cane. She's just perfectly normal. She's 75 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and she just completely everything in her blood work is perfect. Her doctors are just blown away.
They're blown away.
And then I work in recovery, so we work and our medical director was the medical director of one of the largest rehabs in the entire world here in Atlanta, and we stole him. And so we work with a lot of alcoholics. And so go ahead and tell them about Howard.
Oh, man. Howard is a guy that we reached. We actually made a post, me and Brad just looking for a couple of people to help for free. We just wanted people to write in their stories. If you knew someone that was really needing to change their life or something, we just wanted to help them for free, and we just wanted to record the whole process. And so one of these guys that came to us is named Howard. He was with us last night. We were at an event last night till 9:00, and he was there supporting us 100%.
Yep.
The guy, Howard, came to us. He was a complete alcoholic, and he said, "Guys, I need help. I need help. Shaking bad. We've done it all. Detox, IVs, you name it. We've done it." But last night he was telling those people it's been 3 months since he came and seen us. He's alcohol free. Number one.
Yep.
He's lost 52 pounds and gained 8 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
In 3 months.
Wow.
52 pounds of fat and 8 pounds of muscle gained.
And I want to tell you one more real quick too.
Yeah, please.
His name is Mike Jenkins, and I can say his name. He's a testimonial for me. He owns the local barbershop in Douglasville where one of our clinics is.
Okay.
Mike came to me and he said, "Chad, I've done every diet known to man. You name it, brother. I've done it. I get it." He said, "But I've been hearing all these people come in my barbershop having success with you, and I just want to try your program before I go have this surgery," that he had already done everything other than the pre-op.
Oh, wow.
And he literally said, "Chad, if you tell me to eat dog crap, I will." That's how serious he was to the point. Mike lost 130 pounds in 13 months with us. no surgery. They said if he did real good in the surgery, he could lose 100 pounds in a year. He lost 130 in a year naturally on our program. So that's definitely one of the biggest success stories that we've had. And we have a lot of them like that. Another guy was with us last night too. Jake has lost 50 pounds in 3 months. It's powerful, but it's more about people changing their life. How many people that we have detoxed and cleaned out like this that have started their own business? I had a guy come to me and told me, he said, Chad, do you remember telling me that after I did this detox that I might start my own business or something? And honestly, I said, no, I actually don't remember telling you that. And he was coming to tell me about his new business that he had just started and how good he was doing. And so,
oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's terrific.
When you're healthy, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're out and you're social and you want to be a part of society and you want to be productive and get things done. And you don't want to sit down and crash and rest and you don't want to play in your phone and you don't want to look for other little forms of pleasure like social media or whatever, ding machine at the gas station or whatever people do. So getting people healthy changes their life. People feed off of their energy and then it opens up doors of opportunity all over the place.
We teach people, and I know we're about to wrap up here, we teach people how to feed their flower, period. When you feed your flower like you're in charge of that important flower, you will bloom. If every time you drink something or eat something, you're thinking about growing your flower and you are a flower, you'll bloom. A flower's not beautiful because you painted the leaves. It's prettier the better it's fed at a cellular level, hence cellular health.
A good metaphor to leave this on. Chad White and Brad Carter with Cellular Health MD. I can't imagine there aren't folks that want to know how to get in touch. So let's tell them how they can do that.
We can go on Facebook, Cellular Health MD, Douglasville and Alpharetta, or cellularhealthmd.com.
Okay, terrific. Chad White and Brad Carter with Cellular Health MD. Chad, Brad, thank you so much for coming in. This was informative and enthusiastic. Thank you for both of those things. We appreciate both. So thank you both.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder. If you've got some nutritional issues in your back office and those administrative tasks there's just too much weight around those administrative tasks. They're all piled up waiting for you and you're not able to get to them, or maybe your books are a mess. I've got a team of they're nutritionists on the back end of your back office. Office angels. They have a whole team of angels that fly in and they get that work done and they fly out and they do it on an ongoing or as needed basis. They do terrific work. And what they really do, folks, is restore the joy to your business because all that stuff piles up on you and it can be life-sucking. So if you want to change, look ahead to 2024 and get things right, give them a call, 678-528-0500. I can't endorse them highly enough because I use their services. I know what they're all about, and they do terrific work. So let them know I sent you when you call, or if you're shy, you can go to officeangels.us to learn more. And also, if you're a solo or small professional services firm and you're having issues around your confidence, your value, and your prices, I've got a book for you. It's my book. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Your Value, and Your Prices. If you want to know more, that you can go to thegenerositymindset.com to find out where to get the book, find out more information on that. And also, I want to thank our listeners. You're just terrific. You've supported us over these past 7.5 years, and I appreciate you. What you've done is you patronize our guests, but you also share the show. If you've heard something here that makes you want to share the show with someone else, please continue to do that. I can't imagine you hadn't thought of someone that you want to share this show with. Please continue to do that and like us on social media. With all that activity, what you're doing is you're helping us celebrate business leaders like Chad and Brad and the great work that they do, but all our guests that we've had over the years. You help us celebrate their work, and that work deserves to be found and honored. And you help us live into our mission to be the voice of business in the North Fulton region. We thank you. So for my guests, Chad White and Brad Carter, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.